Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm joined today by my friend Paul Marlow. Paul and I are going to just shoot the shit today. I was going to do an interview with him, and he's like, "Nah, don't send me questions. Let's just talk." And Paul and I have known
Wait,
each. Yeah,
do you have other people that get questions and they're like, "Hey,
yeah,
man, this is what I want to
yeah.
do." Oh, maybe I'm doing it wrong. That's the problem.
Most people ask for a questionnaire beforehand, and Paul's like, "Nah, I don't need questions. I'm good." So we're doing this no questionnaire. No, we're just going to do it freestyle today. But we've known each other so long, I don't think that's going to be a problem. So
No.
Paul, why don't we start off? Well, I know who you are, but why don't you tell everyone who you are?
You might have heard of me. You might not know who I am. You can't tell by sitting down, but I'm 6'7", so people call me Tall Paul. That's essentially how I go by on all social media platforms in my past businesses, if you want to call them that. But I am as Mick would call it, a social media influencer, even though I don't put myself in that category. I have, however, delved into social media in the last 4 years, trying to make a business of it. And through that, delving into it and diving into understanding how to use Instagram, Twitter, writing blogs, YouTube, you name it, I grew somewhat my personal training business to get more eyes and get more consistent revenue. And then what happened was I went through some depression, almost serious depression, had kind of a mental breakdown after my old man passed away 2 years ago now. And I changed my flow of social media, insight, help, trying to guide people to better themselves through the fitness, as in trying to guide themselves better through their mental health, which luckily fitness falls into. And so these last 2 years have been my journey into the mental health realm. You might call it advocacy. I don't like saying that, but it is what it is. And doing so, I have been able to talk on stage at events. And also, I didn't write anything down. I went off the top of my head like this. Well, maybe this is why I do it.
Yeah. It's very organic.
And
yeah,
I think it's more personal.
I agree.
But also, so on stage, I've written blogs for big companies. Big for me. I was very happy. And I've been able to do a lot of these interviews and podcasts over the last year. And doing that, I realized I want to start my own personal small business clothing line and mental health initiative. So what I'm wearing right now is my Never Alone apparel. And I won't completely dive into that right now. Maybe we'll hit it later on and you can link to it. There we go. Self-promotion. That's it.
And that's right. I want to get into all of that, but I want to backtrack first off, because when you and I first met, you were a personal trainer. You had broken into the fitness industry. Prior to that, though, you were quite active yourself. I think you were drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays out of high school. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I was drafted in 2003, my senior year of high school.
Okay. So you were quite the athlete.
Late rounds.
Yeah. So you were quite the athlete then.
That was all I had.
Right. Did you grow up?
Okay. That's all I had. I was an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up. So are we having a delay, or is this just me talking?
I think there was a slight delay. That's okay, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I grew up as an athlete since I played mini eights baseball, so I was 8 when I started that. I think 2 years before that, I started playing soccer.
Okay.
So essentially, since I was 6, growing up, I was soccer until I was 6 till 20, baseball from 8 till 21. Rugby, volleyball, badminton, I think, for a year. I played everything, man. And I played everything because I was 6'7", but I was also very athletic. Like, I hold my body well, and I was able to do things most tall kids my size couldn't do at that time.
Right. So obviously you excelled at baseball, though, because to get drafted by the Blue Jays. Tell me about that.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't excel at baseball. I had potential to excel. Okay. Baseball is a sport where it's like, let's look at what you could be 5 years from now. I don't give a damn what you are right now half the time.
Okay.
And I got drafted off of potential.
Okay.
Really, because I wasn't that good when I got drafted. I got better in my college years, but the year I got drafted, like, there was no way I was a top team on my player. I wasn't even close. I was probably actually up 40-man roster. I was like the 38th best player.
I see. Okay. That's still pretty damn impressive.
Oh, I'll take it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely looking out. I was the 1336th pick out of 1500 in all of North America.
Okay.
So 350 million people, I don't know, million play baseball. So yeah, it was definitely something I can be grateful for.
Were you ever considering pursuing a professional career somewhere else, like in Japan or in Europe for baseball?
I wasn't good enough. This thing that stopped me from doing anything.
Okay.
The work ethic I have now and that you've seen in the gym, and why you say I'm good at social media, the work ethic that I put into myself the last 4 years, if I had that when I was growing up playing sports, yeah, I would have done something for sure.
Okay.
Then I had no work ethic.
Right. Okay. Okay. So now you get out of college, and what year is that?
Yeah.
You remember?
So I played baseball for 4 years.
Yeah.
Texas, Iowa, ended up in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I played a year there. So essentially, I had 4 years of baseball. There was a half year somewhere in there.
Okay.
And then I had a full year left of college sports
Mhm.
because I didn't use a redshirt year. A redshirt year is when you are on the team but you don't play any games. So you
Okay.
essentially have 5 years total of sports.
Right.
And I had one left. So actually, the basketball team picked me up to play on the basketball team in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay.
And that was actually more impressive than me playing baseball
Yeah.
because I was the tall white guy from Canada who hadn't actually picked up a basketball in 5 years. And the basketball team there was like a top 20 in the nation in NAIA, which UBC is.
Yeah.
And they're like, come be our center. We need a big man. Their big man was shorter than me, but like 300 pounds, but he was soft, like
Okay.
just physically soft.
Right.
And like, we need someone to push people around. And like, do you want to come play? I'm like, y'all give me some Scully money, scholarship, and yeah, I'll come.
Okay.
And so I went and played basketball here. And that was actually like the most impressive sporting feat I probably could have done.
It's huge in the States. I have a good friend of mine, Diego Kaplan.
Yeah.
He played for McNeese University for 4 years. He was drafted out of Vancouver here. And I mean, he says it's insane. His first game.
McNeese?
Yeah,
I
McNeese.
think that's down. Okay. I think
Uh,
yeah.
but he was telling me, he's like, it's insane in comparison to Canada. It was crazy the amount like of people just like watching. He got so nervous on his first game. He had no idea what to expect. But so, okay,
Yeah.
you have quite the athletic background. Is that how you transitioned into personal training?
The real reason why I did PT is because like after all those athletics and not having a work ethic and like barely graduating high school and leaving college with 4 classes still to graduate, and I still don't have a degree in college, and I was there for like 6 years.
Okay.
It was like, I can't go behind a desk and do something. I don't want to do that.
Right.
So my first year was, when I came back, the first thing I did was, I worked landscaping. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna go outside.
Okay.
What if I swore?
Yeah.
You swear in person, so I'm gonna swear.
Yeah.
But I was like, landscaping. And then after like a year of that, I'm like, man, 8 hours a day of this? Fuck this. I'm not doing this. It is wet. It is hard work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a workout background. I didn't start working out until I was 21. That was the first time I lifted weights.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
But yeah, no, man. I had zero work ethic.
I know, but I just assumed you've been working
ability.
out. Oh, wow. Okay. Genetically gifted.
Yeah, not until 21. And yeah, I learned a lot from college, but it's kind of like you. It was just naturally like things made sense when I started learning things at the gym.
Yeah.
I didn't have any schooling background, and it just like this made sense to me. So I was like, why don't I have to get a degree. I have to get a certificate in personal training to get insurance. That's what I knew.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took a 1-month course.
Okay.
Banged it out. It was long. That was the hardest I'd actually worked in a long time to do anything. And then I got my. It was. I
love how honest you are.
It is, man. I never put time in, or never stuck to anything. So that was the first time I ever stuck to something. And then I took the ice, and it was like the stupidest 30. I'm like, I went for a month just to go through my ice. But that was it. That was essentially why I got into PT.
Okay. And you were a really good trainer. I mean, when I first met you, you were personal training, and I thought you were a great trainer. I actually had one of your clients on the show a few weeks ago, Sue Spencer, who, as you know, I mean,
AMG.
Olympic lifter. I mean, and she only said good things about you. So you had built up quite the clientele base. What happened?
If I liked PT, I think
Yeah,
I'd do pretty good, and I can make some money. I can help some people.
right.
I don't like it. I like the idea of it, and I like helping people.
Okay.
The longer I got going into it, like let's say these last 3 years, and
Yeah,
I was PTing for probably 8 years, let's say. The
right.
last three, like I was in my prime and I was understanding how to work with people and getting the most out of their hour, but also getting the most to keep them along for long term. Like you don't give everything, like you do this, you give them this little tip and trick, and you let them think it out. But when they can't figure something out, that's when you come in. They're like, "Oh, you're so worth your money."
Yeah.
And I found my way of doing it that worked for me.
Okay.
Like how you do it, that does not work for me. But I was
Right.
like, I found my way with my people.
Okay.
And shit, I had Sue for 7 years. Like it showed. All my
Yeah.
clients by the end were, I only had 5 of them, but I all had them all for like 5, 6 years. And it was consistent 3 times a week. I know I'm getting this paycheck. I know I'm getting everything.
Yeah.
But I just got bored of like, I could only teach so much at the end. Like, I don't want to go to school to learn a new personal training technique.
Okay.
I don't want to go like learn it myself so I can teach them. Like I've done Olympic lifting. I've done all this stuff. I understand HIIT. I don't want to go do CrossFit just to show them like I need to know it myself to teach them. And I'm like, there's nothing more I can really do.
Yeah.
And when that started happening, I started not caring as much. Like, just gonna go in, do this.
Okay.
And it was good. I was helping them and they were getting help, but there was a point where like we were getting to this point like I couldn't go past it much more. There was a barrier there.
Sure.
So either I look to start my own gym, or I try to get trainers underneath me, or work on my ads on Facebook and start focusing more online stuff like you. And like that's the only way I could grow. And I'm like, it just didn't interest
It didn't interest
me
you.
at all. No. It would have been, I could still step in today and make that happen.
Yeah.
And I know I could make money. I could make it from what I've learned online and everything I've learned out interacting with people. But I'd wake up every morning like, oh, here we go again. Let's just do this.
Well, like you said, some of those relationships you had for 7 years, I mean, you had great clientele retention. Like you had a great retention rate, which is rare in this industry. Most trainers, as you know, you get a client to keep them for maybe 3-4 months if they're lucky. You're getting clients that are with you for over half a decade. So, I mean, that's something very hard to step away from because it's steady income. You know, it's coming in every week, like you said. So was it difficult to leave?
I whittled it down. So
Okay.
also the reason why it ended was after my dad died, I stopped. Well, before he died, I cut it back. I think I talked to you about this. Like I was 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can't do this as much. So I was like, how can I make this more efficient? I cut it down to actually 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay.
But by doing so, I like, hey guys, this is what's up. I sent emails out. I talked to everyone. I kept everyone still. I just rearranged them because I could help them be like, well, if you move this in your day, move that in your day, we figured this out. Let me help you for a month. And then we tweaked it into my schedule so it worked for me and them. You know, you have to like move around.
Yeah.
And I was making the exact same money for only 3 days a week.
3 days a week. Okay.
I was like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad.
And not at all. But then the old man passed away and I stopped working for a month.
Okay.
I was like, I couldn't go in. Like I was so depressed, I couldn't go in. Like I canceled on them. Like the 2 months prior, like I canceled probably on Sue like 7 times in a month. Like I can't keep doing this. Like it's
right?
not. Oh yeah, it was bad. Like I'd wake up, I'm like, guys, I'm not coming in. I'd make up some excuse. I'm pretty sure they knew it was happening, and I was just like, nah. So I was like, after that, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I cut it. Did I cut it down even more? I cut it down. So I was like, yeah,
1 day a week.
I cut it down. So it was like 3 days a week.
Yeah.
3 days a week, but I was done at noon.
Okay,
like,
I see. So you were fading out.
And yeah, I slowly worked it out. And I didn't realize I was going to completely go, but I was like, I got it. And that's when I did that, those extra 5 days a week, I worked on my Instagram, my blogging. I worked on understanding social media. So at some point I could transition fully into it. I didn't know what it would be, that it would be this, but due to the times and what I changed, like I put time to work, and now 2 years later, it's giving me payback.
Was your father's passing, was it very sudden? Was it just unexpected, or was it kind of a long-term process?
No, it was sudden, and it wasn't. He got Parkinson's essentially 2.5 years before he passed.
Okay.
And Parkinson's disease is kind of like you see like a little tilt in the body and then stuff. We thought he was just depressed. We didn't know what it was. So essentially, the first year we didn't know what was going on,
Okay.
except that he just finally retired and wasn't happy,
Okay.
which is a normal thing when people retire. Like I'm just not, as because they don't have that motivation.
Sure.
After the year, we realized, well, he's probably got Parkinson's disease. And then once you even realize that, you don't actually, they can't tell for a year. They kind of take your borderline, and then a year later they come back. But at the end of that year, it was like, he couldn't stand up, like all this stuff. So essentially what happened was a year's worth of him, like every time I'd come home every week or 2 weeks, like it would be a different person. Like he couldn't do this new thing. He couldn't do that. He might forget my name. He might, go to do something. You're like, why am I here? It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. And my dad was robust. Like when he was 50, he looked 30. When he was 60, like he was kind of like me. I'm 35. People think I'm 28 sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
Without this beard. And it was just the guy that was always the youngest guy. So I was so used to that. And then he started going and went to Parkinson's or his old age, whatever was going on. He aged by 20 years. Like he was 65. He looked like 80. Oh man, it was, and that shook me up.
Sure.
And then every time coming in, a new guy, until like the last 2 months where he came in, you're like, okay, who is this person that's going to see me today? I'm going to have dinner with them and my mom, and hopefully I can make through it. Like it was weird.
Okay.
So it really was a short period of time and scale. It was played out because of the intermittent periods, but that's really what shook me up and what set me off into this weird space.
And is that what kind of transitioned you out of personal training?
Yeah,
it was.
I didn't give a fuck anymore.
Right.
I was in it prior because I was like, I have nothing else to do. Like this is my safety bubble. Like we talked about, like it was my comfort space.
Yeah.
And then he died, and I was like, I got so low that I was like, fuck it. Like this is low. Yeah. Having to deal with my PT people, that's not low. That's just something I deal with because I'm too afraid to step outside the bubble.
Right.
Fuck it. Step outside the bubble. Do these things that scare you.
Yeah.
Make this happen. Go try it at least, because where I'm at now is actually shitty. That is just uncomfortable to deal with for a certain period of time until it's not.
Okay.
And I was like, let's make it happen.
Yeah. So once you got out of personal training though, and like you said, those other days that you were not training clients, you were working on social media, and you and I talked about this off camera. And I remember when you were doing this, like all of a sudden I saw you just blow up on social media. Like you were everywhere. You were on Facebook, you were on Instagram, and not in like a cheesy way too. You were actually putting out some really good content. So how did that start?
Well, I'm glad you noticed, because I never know who sees it. Essentially it started like what you're doing right now, my man. Like I said, you're doing a really good job. It starts off by like just going out there and doing something, not knowing, but just saying like, I'm not afraid to try it. It might not be perfect, but I'm going to do it because I'm told that's what I should do at this time, because that's where it goes. Like that's how it goes. Essentially, social media, you just got to create content.
Right.
And that's all I thought. Create.
Yeah.
Trust me, a lot of the stuff at the start wasn't good. It was like creating, like, this is me. Like it was me shirt off. Like it was the stupidest shit, but it was all I knew how to create.
Yeah.
But then after like a couple of months, it'd be like, okay, I wrote a blog post for 500 words, and it took so much brain power and energy that after 2 days I was exhausted, and I was like, okay, I posted it, and obviously it does nothing. And then you're like, oh, I have to write a new one. Okay, this one was 600 words. And I kind of read this blog that told me how to write a blog. And then after 2 months, like I've written 10 blogs. They're now 1,500 words. I've understood how to use tags and keywords, and I've understood that like you can't speak as much as you think you will. So I really like shortened up the paragraphs and spaced it out so it's easier to read. And I'm just a guy that I'll create something first and then aim later. So I'll shoot the name.
Yeah.
So I'll create it, and then I'll look at, like, okay, where did I go wrong? Why did that suck? Why is this one better than mine? Next one, I'm going to try this thing in here. And the same thing with YouTube, same thing with Instagram. So I would just create stuff, and then the next one I would create, I would just try to make it that much better, and then that much better. And then I realized, well, I have to create everywhere. Everywhere, a blog piece can be put on Facebook in a different way, and Instagram a different way, and YouTube a different way. So I can create one piece and then just create smaller pieces on each platform. And then it looks like I'm creating a shitload of content for the world to see.
Yeah.
And just give value, hopefully give value.
Was the learning curve difficult at first for you, though? I mean, you had gone from someone who was running a very successful personal training company, and now you're starting something completely new. So you're trying to build up your followers. And I mean, I've seen your followers, and you have a huge audience right now. Was it difficult at first, those first few months, or actually probably first few years?
Well, if you stick around long enough in YouTube, you'll get it. I think you should stick around. Maybe not every day, but you should keep this up.
Yeah.
Instagram, when I started 4 years ago, Nick, like I posted 2 times a day, and they were horrible. And I was gaining 50 followers a day by doing nothing.
Is that
The
right?
algorithm always changes. And it was at a period where it's so new, like you're on TikTok right now. I've seen you. TikTok is a place where it's like they want people to come and see. So they're like, we're going to open it up. Doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to get views.
Okay.
And then they get big, and then they're like Instagram now is like, fuck that. No one's seeing shit. You're getting cut down. You're going to have to pay us to get views. So I was like on Instagram at the time where I was like, come. So I grew then.
Okay.
But no, that's where I first started. So me saying I never tried and practiced or learned anything growing up, I just had natural talent. This is when I started really understanding that I had to learn, and I started learning. But then I started seeing these changes. Like when I did learn something and I implemented it and I got a little bit better, I was like, oh, that's fun. Like, oh, that's why I do that. And I'm like, okay, well, let me learn this thing. Like, then I got a little bump from that. And then someone shared my post because they liked it. I'm like, oh, that's fun. So I did. It was hard, but it actually, there weren't that many road bumps for me because I enjoyed the shit out of the process. I was like, wow, this is great. Like, this is what learning actually means. You get better at something and people notice it, and you have an opportunity to do whatever you want from that.
Yeah. And what I liked about your stuff when you were pointing out, you weren't trying to like sell. You know how some people like buy my program, buy this, buy that. You were just putting out your lifestyle. You're putting out fitness. You were giving out fashion tips. I mean, this was just you being you. I think it was just going like just your whole Paul lifestyle. So what happened from there? I mean, now you've started, you transitioned into another breed for online right now with your Never Alone company. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So and that, I think I gained something from that, just being a person. I'm always like in PT, I'm a slow sell, man. Like that's how I dealt with personal training, getting new clients. Like, I don't know about you, like the first session I meet someone, I'm very confident I can sell them to get them in, but I'm not going to pitch.
Right.
I'm just going to go through and be like, hey, you realize what's change a squat form? You see that difference there? Think about that. Take that home. Go. Like me not telling you I'm great, me showing you I know what I'm doing a few times. Keep going in the thing, couple pitch points. Right. And then you coming back like, hey, I need your help.
Yeah.
I really hate these personal trainers. Like, this is what I do for my clients because it's about me. No, it's not about me. You should never have I or me or anything in your text. It should be them. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
Those persons sued. This is never about me.
No.
And I used to make it about me. Now I really focus you, them.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned from doing all this social media, like 4 years, for this mental health area that I'm trying to give helpful content in. Is essentially right from the get-go, it's me telling my story. So that is the me, but it's for you to take what you want from it to learn from if it's helpful for you. Okay. And that is what I try to do with every piece of content. At least big one is this, like, this is the thing I've been through, because I'm not a therapist. I don't feel right to give someone like, hey, do this. It's the shit and it will cure you. Because first of all, it's mental health. Nothing is like that. But it was just like, this is my story and this is this. But now as I get more into it, like, these are some things that I've learned and I've read online that might help you.
Okay.
So But what I got from that is people like coming to me, asking me questions. Hey, so this is happening in my life. I feel like this. Can you help me? Or I lost my dad a month ago and I don't feel like I can get through this. What did you do to go through it? Like, I get these questions now, and it's only because it's like I'm just giving out helpful info, to at one point extract back that help that I gave them, and they're like, yeah, thank you so much. I would love to buy a hoodie because you've been so helpful to me, and I know it'll create more content in the future that'll be more helpful for others.
But that has to be very mentally draining. I mean, if people are contacting you and they're constantly leaning on you for, emotional support and advice, do you find that draining at times? I mean, if you're getting people messaging you quite a bit, like you said, someone loses a family member, that must be very hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I say that it's also how you place yourself. As you notice, like you see on my Instagram stories, or sometimes I'm like, I don't know, like, fuck it, I don't feel good. I'm gonna tell you, don't fucking message me today because I don't want to hear from you unless it's helpful. Like I said that the other day. I'm like, this is me right now. I
Yeah.
don't want it.
Okay.
And like that's me kind of like subtly hinting to the people, like, okay, he's open, but at the same time, he's a human being and he might not want to deal with my stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like people do come to me and I say, first off, you should talk to your therapist. If it's something like that's deep, it's like, no, I don't want to touch this.
Yeah.
So there are ways through doing this and interacting with any person, if it's one-on-one, to like show them you're open, but also show them a guideline that they need to follow without telling them the guideline.
Yeah.
There's so many ways of creating these things. So I've had a couple of people come and like, if I'm mentally ready, like I'll do it. I'll hop on a video and say, hey, this is my thing. I really think this is it, because it's more personal when you do a video instead of text. And it'll be like, this, what you should do. If they keep going on, like, I'm sorry, I can't touch this right now. It's not something that, first of all, it's in my area, and mentally, I just can't handle it. But I don't really get a lot where it's like you said, it's a lot more of it's like, hey, I got a guy today, like, I know you use CBD, I wrote a blog 2 years ago on CBD. He's like, I read your blog 2 years ago, and I hadn't talked to him in a year.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, can you help me with anxiety? Like, I think it would help me, and this is it. I'm like, we good?
Yeah, you just froze for a second. I think it's just,
Oh,
there you go. You're fine. It's good.
I apologize. I'm ruining
No,
that
it's okay. I
for
heard you.
you.
It's okay. Yeah. Continue.
But that's it. So it's just like stuff I've been through, and that stuff isn't that hard. I'm happy to do that.
So tell me about your clothing brand, though, Never Alone. When did you launch that?
It's not even launched.
Oh, it's
You know
not.
how hard
Okay.
it is to start a business, to
I have no idea.
really get it going?
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. What are you talking about? Business, please.
No, you do. Like, you get the thing. It's easy when it's online and it's like just taking it, or like people coming for PT, because you can meet them once and you can kind of grow it and make this logo here and make this look more professional and have, like, an email list. And that's all I've done till now. It's been my personal brand, which has worked to get me here.
Okay.
But now I'm trying to sell this, and it's create a website that can handle having someone come in and purchase a correct size of hoodie, correct color, for the correct cost, with the correct shipping to their place, with the correct PCST and tax added onto it, then have me be able to extract that and be like, okay, I have this many hoodies left, and then have that subtract from the amount of hoodies I have on stock, so that no one buys a hoodie that's not. It's just like, man, that's just one small area. So this is taking far longer than I expected. Good learning curve, though. But essentially, the website is just done. I figured out with the guy who was creating it for me. These hoodies were actually, the clothing was made to help fund me, to help fund me hire other videographers, writers, and content creators to work with me to create more content to help people.
Okay.
I want to be creating YouTube videos like you daily and weekly,
Right.
that are beneficial for people in the mental health realm and just general personal growth realm. But I want to do that YouTube. I want blog. I want everything
Right.
that has been helping people just to blow up and expand to get more people help.
Yeah.
So my idea was create a clothing line where the proceeds of the clothing go back into creating it, and then it just, circles in on itself by self-funding and self-growing.
I see.
Hopefully.
Has COVID-19 slowed that down right now?
Oh boy. I was, what day is today? March. April 7th, I was supposed to have launched my Kickstarter for this.
Oh, is that right?
So
Oh, wow.
I didn't have to put tens of $1,000s.
Yeah. Wow. So,
So that was the plan, to Kickstarter. Yeah. So I could get like a couple $1,000s from y'all, and
sure.
then be like, okay, send it to the people to create it, so I don't get stuck in that hole holding it and then doing this. With the times, it didn't make sense.
Right.
So I was like, we'll just get the e-commerce site up. And a month later after that, got the e-commerce site up, and that's today, or less than a month. Just completely transitioned everything. I'd worked for 3 months on the Kickstarter and then just scrapped it. So a month later, the e-commerce is about ready. Oh yeah, but it's a learning. Like, I love this stuff to learn. Like, now I can create a Kickstarter at some other point on a new thing and push it out there in like a week instead of the 3 months it took, because I've done it before.
I mean,
like you see with this, it's easier after you do them.
well, you've taught yourself so much too with this landscape too, with social media in general. I mean, you've been giving me tips. I'm the first to admit I know nothing about social media, and you've been really nice. You've been helping me out. You say, hey, Nick, try this thumbnail, do this blog, do things like that. And you've been really helpful. And it's all like, this is stuff that I have no idea about, and you've taught yourself this. But I wanted to ask you too, because you talked about mental health, and I wanted to go back. Who do you go to though when you're having like a down day? Do you have anyone that you talk to?
That's almost also why this started, me talking through social media to help others. I actually used it. It was beneficial for me as a second therapist. Like, when I was really having down days, for me to go online and to go to my either Twitter or Instagram stories, and I showed myself crying and showed myself grief, but like, I would give the reason why I was grieving, not just show it so people would be like, oh, I'm sorry for you, but as I'm like, hey, this happened, this is what he meant to me. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to change it by implementing a morning routine to better myself. So we'll see how this next week goes. And it was kind of like a therapist, but also a thing where if I put it out there, I kind of had to do it to try for myself to see it would work. And then if it did work, I would share the outcome with these people, like, hey, this works for me. Try this simple thing in your day and it might help you too. So on my down days, I would go to social media. Like, if I have one now, I'm lucky. I've gone through so many, and I've like learning how to use social, learning how to do these things. Like, I'm like, I know that I can overcome something in due time if I just kind of step outside the box and think about it.
Yeah.
I still do go see a therapist monthly, not so much now with this, but monthly I was before. And if something's really bad, if I'm down for a while, like, I'll be like, I'll get on a call, like, let's do this, put the money down. I see it as an investment in myself.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm good alone by myself and think about things by myself.
Yeah. And you're right. It is an investment. It's just like same thing with personal training, right? You're investing in your body. So therapist is your mental health, and very important. Would you ever consider, as a side business, because you know so much about social media, would you ever consider offering social media courses, teaching people like me how to actually run a successful business on social media? Is that something you have any interest in?
See, I love it. Like, whenever you talk to me, I love talking about it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sell it as running a successful, because I haven't pulled enough money to say it. I think I'd be lying. I would be happy to give my insight and to say like, hey, let's sit down. 100% I would.
Yeah.
However, though, I will say I am limited in one realm. I'm all about organic connection and growth.
Right.
As in this conversation between you and me.
Yeah.
For my 11,000 followers, 10,500. I forget what it is.
Who's counting?
But it is what I do, and I do well, is have that emotional connection between them. And I'll wake up like mornings with like 40 or 50 new DMs from people just looking at my stories, but not just saying hi, but saying like, I love that. What are you doing right there? Like, can you answer this? My answer to this one is this. And like, it's actual connections.
Right.
And I believe that's what sells.
Yeah.
So with that, I believe I'm very good at. With actually turning it into a business and create a profit, I haven't figured that out yet. So I wouldn't want to say that.
Yeah.
But I could give tips, and I would like to. Let's just break it down. I'd like to do that. I think I can be very helpful. However, though, I have my way of doing it, and if someone wants to do it a different way, I'm like, that's fine. Go find
Go somewhere else. Yeah. Well, and like you do have some good ideas. Like, I mean, you really have. You've given me great advice. So I was just wondering if that's something you'd ever be interested in yourself, moving in that direction as a byproduct.
Yeah. Hey, man, if you want to pay me, I'm
Yeah.
happy to help. Honestly.
Yeah. No, I think that's, and it's something. I want your opinion on this. With social
Yeah.
media the way it's going right now, do
Yeah.
you think it's headed in the right direction? Like, what's the biggest mistake you see people making on social media right now?
They give a
Businesses.
shit about themselves. They give a shit about themselves. They make it
Okay.
about themselves.
Yeah.
They want to look like my pages has to be professional. It has to
Okay.
look like this.
Yeah.
And especially like you're doing the thing was while you're like on your Instagram, it shows Zoom and it shows two different videos. Like that's what you're posting. And the thing is, in the time, everyone relates to that. It doesn't have to be professional because every other single person is dealing with the exact same struggles you are.
Right.
Now, you moving forward, when everything's back to normal, you can go. If you don't tidy up those things and kind of make it look better because you have the ability to now,
Yeah.
then you'll fall behind because you won't be in the groove of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, people care too much. They care too much to look cool, to not smile, and they make it about them. Like personal trainers, man, personal trainers make their Instagram about them and not about their clients, and not about, and no, fuck that, not about their clients, not about their potential.
Yeah.
All these people, and I know you know what I'm talking about. All these people I talk to are like, but my followers, but my, yeah, I don't give a damn about my followers right now. Like, I'm sorry, everyone out there is my follower. Y'all with me already. I don't need to sell you again.
Right.
You're with me, and you're gonna gain more and more from me.
Yeah.
I need to sell that person who doesn't know me.
Yeah.
That's what the majority of my content is for the person who doesn't know me, because I want that next person.
Sure. It's really hard for someone like me because this social media landscape is constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. And, you have to change with it. You have to adapt, and it's almost on a daily basis. And you and I were talking about this off camera, and you're like, if you can stick through with this YouTube thing, you're in the long run, because you said it's like a full-time job. I mean, doing the social media. And I'm not even at where you're at with social media, but it's just like, oh my God, you got to record a conversation, you got to upload the conversation. And, I love talking with you. I love talking with most people on these channels. It's just all the work afterwards you got to do to get the video up. So
yeah, no. And you haven't even really dove into Canva. Like you have so many things.
Yeah. Don't overwhelm me yet.
You need that. But no, it is. But it is though. Like you got to keep it up. The thing is, what you do, in my mind, after this, or keep going once you get your regular routine back. Which I'm going to ask you is, I don't know, man. Like, what do you think a regular routine is for a personal trainer in a city is going to be anymore? I don't think it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I think people are like, these people, like, man, you're fucking jacked. You use a lot of squats. You use like dumbbells and you use machines. Like, what about sometime if those aren't available for you and your clients? Like, what is that going to be? And I know you do group, but there are a lot of other trainers that don't. And I think if they don't adapt, what's going to happen?
I look at it like this. A lot of people ask me, are you worried about losing your business? Are you worried about where gyms are going? And, of course I'm worried. I'd be lying if I said, yeah, everything's great. We're going to go back to normal. Nobody knows what's going to come after COVID-19. I mean, in my opinion, we're going to be in this for at least another 18 months. So, and that's the timeline we've been given, right? So do I think personal training is going to become obsolete? No, I think people are still going to need trainers. But I think like you said, trainers are going to have to adapt. Things are going to be different. So if you're not changing with the times, you're going to get left behind and you're going to go under. So, we're always trying to reinvent ourselves, even as a business. So like I said to you, like, am I worried that, people are not going to be coming to work with us anymore? Not worried about our current clientele base. I do feel like our clients are very loyal to us and they will come back. But obviously, like, people are losing their jobs. Finances could be an issue for people right now too. Like you said, gyms might not even be here for a while. Like there are a lot of gyms going up right now. You heard what happened with Steve Nash, right? So it's going to be an interesting time, but I never like
to. Let's not get into that.
Yeah. And, I never like to think, well, that's it. Game over, reset. You have to do something brand new. I think, no, instead of reset, maybe reinvent. And, rather than trying to work against what's happening, work with what's happening, So I do agree with you, though. I think a lot of trainers are going to be left behind if they don't adapt. So it's going to be interesting to see. And not just my industry, I mean, other industries too, right? We're not the only ones, restaurants. So it'll be interesting. Paul, if someone...
Yeah, 100%. But the thing is, restaurants are businesses.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if I now you said your clothing line hasn't launched yet. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It has. Okay, we had a bit of delay there. So,
Uh,
but if someone wanted to get in
no.
contact with you,
Yeah, we are.
okay.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to get in contact with you, what would be the best way to do that?
First of all, there's a delay. I apologize. I'm on my data. It shouldn't delay, but let's make this work. I'm going to give you the link, and they can go to it at www.weareneveralone.co, and there will be probably by the time this goes up, something will be live, and if not, there'll be an email subscription for them to go to and sign up, just to know. I'll give you that link, and the rest will just check on my Instagram. Shoot me a DM if you want. That's the best thing. I'm always on that.
Perfect. I'm going to put all your contact information in the description of this video below. And do we have a timeline as to when the clothing line might launch? Have you been given one yet?
For the last 5 months, I've been saying dates and then moving them about 12 times. So I'm not going to say anything because running a business, it doesn't go.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But it'll be up on the website when it's ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Good. Yeah. And I do think people should check out Paul's content. I mean, I think it's great content. You put out fresh new content all the time. So it's just interesting to watch. And you've always been really good with this. So I don't know. I think it's another side business for you just to think of, because I personally don't know anyone who puts out as much social media content as you and just fresh content. Because I'm tired of seeing the same bathroom butt selfies and all this. You know, like, I am. And like, there's nothing original, you know? So I
agree with you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Paul, I really appreciate you spending the time with me today, even though we had a slight delay here and there, but I really appreciate talking to you. I love talking with you. You're fun to talk with. And
hey, man, I appreciate it. The guy with social media can't get his fucking Wi-Fi or data set up. So I apologize. That's my end. So maybe I'm not as great as you think I am.
No, this happened.
But
you know what's funny?
See, right then and there. We should just end it right now because it's still happening.
I know. I was just going to say, though, before we end it, it might not even be you. Sometimes Zoom is like that, too. If there's a lot of people on Zoom, it does happen. So it might not even be you. But don't worry about it. It only happened at the end. We're good. Paul, I want to thank you so much. And I don't know if you can still hear me. Can you still hear me okay? Okay, great.
I'm just waiting for you to speak.
Okay. Paul, thank you so much for your time today. I'll touch base with you again soon. I'd like to have you on again, actually. You know, you and I can talk. When you launch the clothing line, I want to come back on and, tell us what's going on with you.
I'm 100% there.
Awesome.
Everyone, thank you. And remember, if you're following this, hit the subscribe button and write a comment below if you like this or you want to have some questions for me later. Nick should be doing this, but I'm just taking over because I'm so used to this on YouTube video.
Well, he's a social media guy, not me. So there you
go. I always ask for the subscribe and comment and like, Nick.
See, I just learned something new. Okay, great. I'll take your course. Get the course going. Paul, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And this video will be coming up on Tuesday. So there, I let people know that. There you go. All right. Thanks, Paul.